Simple pendulum. A simple pendulum is a heavy point mass known as bob suspended from a rigid support by a massless and inextensible string. This is an ideal case. In the given figure, here a heavy solid, say iron or brass ball, is suspended by a light but strong thread from a rigid support S. The ball is called the bob. In this figure, you can see the three different positions of an oscillating bob. The rest or mean position of the bob is O. When the bob from its mean position O is pulled to one side and then released, the pendulum is set in motion and the bob moves alternately on either sides of its mean position. Some terms related to simple pendulum. Oscillation. One complete means one complete to and fro motion of the bob of pendulum is called one oscillation. One complete to and fro motion means when you pull the bob from its mean position, that is O, to either side, then the bob goes to the point A and it comes back to the point O. This is called one complete to and fro motion, that is one oscillation. Period of oscillation or time period. This is the time taken to complete one oscillation. It is denoted by the symbol capital T and its unit is second. Frequency of oscillation. It is the number of oscillation made in 1 second. It is denoted by the letter F or N. Its unit is per second or hertz. Relation between time period and frequency. If T is the time period of a simple pendulum, then in time t second, the number of oscillation is 1. So in time 1 second, the number of oscillations will be 1 upon t. So the frequency is equals to 1 upon t or t equals to 1 upon f. Amplitude. The maximum displacement of the bob from its mean position on either side is called the amplitude of oscillation. You can understand it with the diagram. Mean position is O. So the distance between the mean position on either side, it may be OB or OA. This is called amplitude. So we can say that OA is the amplitude for this pendulum or OB is the amplitude for this simple pendulum. Effective length of a pendulum. It is the distance of the point of oscillation, that is the center of gravity of the bob, from the point of suspension S. It is shown by L. The time period of oscillation is directly proportional to the square root of its effective length. That is, T is directly proportional to under root L, or in other words, the square of time period of oscillation is directly proportional to the effective length L. That is, T square is directly proportional to L. It means that if the length of the simple pendulum will be increased, in that case the time period of the simple pendulum will also increase. The time period of oscillation is inversely proportional to the square root of acceleration due to gravity. That is, T is inversely proportional to 1 upon under root G. For this reason, a pendulum clock goes slow when it is taken to mountains or to mines due to decrease in the value of G. That means if the value of G is increasing, the value of T is also decreased. Number 3. The time period of oscillation does not depend on the mass or material of the body suspended, that is bob. If we take two pendulums of equal lengths but with bobs of different masses or different materials, their time periods will remain same. Means it does not depend on the mass of the bob. The time period of oscillation does not depend on the extent of swing on either side. That is, it does not depend on the amplitude. Now expression for the time period of simple pendulum. The time period of oscillation of a simple pendulum is given by the following relation. T equals to 2 pi under root L upon G, or T square equals to 4 pi square L upon G, where T is time period, L is effective length of pendulum, and G equals to acceleration due to gravity. And the effective length of pendulum will be L plus R, where R is the radius of the bob. Seconds pendulum. The pendulum of a clock which we use to know time in our house is a seconds pendulum. It takes time 1 second in moving from one extreme to the other extreme, so its time period is 2 seconds. Thus, a pendulum with a time period of oscillation equal to 2 seconds is known as a seconds pendulum. The effective length of the seconds pendulum at a place where G equals to 9.8 meter per second square is nearly 1 meter. So here we have completed chapter number 1, measurements and experimentation. Scalar and vector quantities. The quantities which can be measured are called physical quantities, and they are broadly categorized in two categories. Number 1, scalar quantities or scalars, and 2 is vector quantities or vectors. Scalar quantities or scalars. These are physical quantities which are expressed only by their magnitude, or we can say they are one-dimensional. For example, mass, length, time, distance, density, volume, speed, temperature, potential, work, energy, power, pressure, and etc. There are so many quantities which are one-dimensional. That means we are having only magnitude in those quantities. So these are called scalar quantities or scalars. Next is vector quantities or vectors. These physical quantities require the magnitude as well as the direction to express them. Then only their meaning is complete. Means we can say that vector quantities are two-dimensional. Means we are having magnitude in those quantities as well as we are having the direction also. For example, displace a particle from a point by 5 meter. So the first question that will arise will be in which direction? Since we have asked to displace a particle, now we are having the magnitude of the distance, magnitude of the displacement, but we are not having the direction. That means this sentence is not having its complete meaning. So if we say that displaced the particle from that point by 5 meter towards east, in this condition we are having 5 meter and east, magnitude and direction, both. So it is a vector quantity now. Displacement is a vector quantity. So we require the following three parameters to express a vector quantity, that is unit, direction and numerical value of the quantity. Displacement, velocity, acceleration, momentum, force, moment of a force, impulse, weight, temperature, etc. are vector quantities. A vector quantity is generally written by its English letter bearing an arrow on it, or by the bold English letter, like this, an arrow, or in the bold letters. State of a body, rest and motion. So, a body is said to be at rest if it does not change its position with respect to its immediate surroundings, while a body is said to be in motion if it changes its position with respect to its immediate surroundings. One-dimensional motion. When a body moves along a straight line path, its motion is said to be one-dimensional motion. It is also called motion in a straight line or rectilinear motion. Representation of one-dimensional motion. The path of one-dimensional motion can be represented by a straight line parallel to the x-axis if x-axis is taken in the direction of motion. Each point on the straight line represents the position of particle at different instants. For example, here you can see the representation of one-dimensional motion. Here the path is in a straight line and the points are denoting the position of the particle at different time intervals. Distance and displacement. The total length of path through which a body moves is called the distance traveled by it. The distance traveled by a body depends on the path followed by the body. Here you can see the motion of a body from A to B has been shown. So the total distance covered by the body is like this. It's in a curvy figure. Okay? So it's a scalar quantity. Displacement. So displacement is the shortest distance from the initial to the final position of the body is the magnitude of displacement and its direction is from the initial position to the final position. In this figure you can see here, this path is showing the distance and this shortest path between A and B, this straight line shows the displacement in the direction A to B. Displacement is a vector quantity and it is represented by a symbol capital S and an arrow on it. Difference between distance and displacement. Number 1. It is the length of the path traversed by the object in a certain time. It is the distance traveled by the object in a specified direction in a certain time. It is a scalar quantity. It has only magnitude. It is a vector quantity. It has both magnitude and direction. It depends on path followed by the object. It does not depend on the path followed by the object. It is always positive. It can be positive or negative depending on its direction. It can be more than or equal to the magnitude of displacement. Its magnitude can be less than or equal to the distance, but can never be greater than the distance. It may not be zero even if displacement is zero, but it cannot be zero if displacement is not zero. It is zero if distance is zero, but it can be zero even if distance is not zero. Speed. For a moving body, speed is the quantity by which we know how fast the body is moving, while velocity is the quantity by which we know how fast the body is moving in a certain direction. So, the speed of a body is the rate of change of distance with time. Since distance is a scalar quantity, we are having no information about the direction of the motion of the body. Numerically, it is the distance traveled by the body in 1 second. Hence, speed is also a scalar quantity and it is generally represented by the letter u, small u or small v. If a body travels a distance s in time t, then its speed v equals to distance upon time. Unit of speed is meter per second and its CGS unit is centimeter per second. Uniform speed. A body is said to be moving with uniform speed if it covers equal distances in equal intervals of time throughout its motion. The motion of a ball on a frictionless plane surface is with uniform speed. Non-uniform or variable speed. A body is said to be moving with non-uniform or variable speed if it covers unequal distances in equal intervals of time. Suppose a body is moving from a point A to B, and in every 5 seconds, it's not covering equal distances. Let's say in first 5 seconds it completed 10 meters, and in the next 5 seconds it covered only 5 meters. So this type of motion is called non-uniform or variable motion, and this speed is called non-uniform or variable speed. Instantaneous speed. When the speed of a body keeps on changing, Its speed at any instant is measured by finding the ratio of the distance traveled in a very short time interval to the time interval. This speed is called the instantaneous speed. That means the speed at a particular time, at particular instant of the motion of the body. Instantaneous speed equals to distance traveled in a short time interval upon time interval. Average speed. The ratio of the total distance traveled by the body to the total time of journey is called its average speed. Average speed equals to total distance traveled upon total time taken. Velocity. The velocity of a body is the distance traveled per second by the body in a specified direction. As I have told you, the main difference between speed and velocity is the direction, because speed is a scalar quantity and velocity is a vector quantity. So magnitude and direction is required in velocity.